How many stitches did Liv Morgan get after getting busted open on WWE Raw? Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez took on IYO Sky and Dakota Kai on this week's WWE Raw in a tag team match. During the match, the former Women's World Champion hit her head on the Genius of the Sky's knee, causing her to bleed heavily during the exchange. Liv Morgan was one of the superstars present on this week's WWE Raw, though her night didn't end exactly as planned. Despite sustaining an injury, she finished her tag team match, but that doesn't mean the effects quickly faded despite the efforts of the Judgment Day members. They failed to win the bout against Damage Control, but many were impressed that Morgan still finished the bout days after the nasty injury. The WWE Raw star posted an update about her injury. On her social media accounts, Liv Morgan showcased that she seemingly needed 6 stitches on her cut. Following the injury, stars like Dominic Mysterio, CJ Perry, FK Lana in WWE, CM Punk, Natalya, Maxine Dupree, and more had positive things to say about the Judgment Day member. Will Liv Morgan still be able to compete at WWE Elimination Chamber? Toronto? The former Women's World Champion will compete at the Women's Elimination Chamber in Toronto on March 1st, 2025. Bayley, Bianca Belair, and Alexa Bliss will join her. Due to her injury, many are wondering if she can still compete at the upcoming Premium Live event, but it seems like her cut won't be slowing her down anytime soon, according to WrestleVotes on the latest live Q&A on Backstage Pass. Liv Morgan is doing just fine and received a couple of stitches following the match. It was also noted that the injury spot wasn't planned but still looked good. With this in mind, it's safe to say that fans will still see the Judgment Day member at the upcoming Women's Chamber match, though she might be taking it slow on the upcoming editions of WWE Raw. She got a couple of stitches afterward. Everything I've heard is that she's fine, and that's good, but it looked great. Blood in a women's match on a Monday Night Raw always stands out. I don't think it was planned, but it looked good. It will be interesting to see what will happen next to the former Women's World Champion on Monday Night Raw. Liv Morgan gives update on her condition after horrific moment on WWE Raw. Liv Morgan didn't have the best of nights on this week's WWE Raw, where she and Raquel Rodriguez lost to Damage CTRL's IYO Sky and Dakota Kai. At one point in the match, the former Women's World Champion even started bleeding profusely, and she has now updated her fans about her condition. Morgan has already qualified for the Women's Elimination Chamber match by defeating IYO Sky last week due to interference by Rhea Ripley. On the latest episode of Raw, Liv Morgan and her Judgment Day stablemate Raquel Rodriguez continued their feud with Sky and her Damage Control partner Dakota Kai in a tag team match. The Genius of the Sky finally got her revenge by pinning Morgan, however. What raised fans' concerns was Liv Morgan suffering a horrific facial injury during the match, which led to her bleeding. She has now posted a series of photos on her Instagram, where she can be spotted with injury marks. Morgan also wrote that despite the facial damage, Dominic Mysterio still found her cute. It remains to be seen if this setback will result in Morgan taking a few days off to recover in time for the Elimination Chamber on March 1st. Liv Morgan injury update after being busted open on WWE review. Liv Morgan had a rough night this past Monday on Raw. The former Women's World Champion was involved in a tag team match alongside Raquel Rodriguez. Both superstars took on Damage CTRL's Dakota Kai and IYO Sky during a recent episode of live Q&A on Backstage Pass. WrestleVotes provided the latest injury update on Liv Morgan after she got busted wide open during her match on Raw. She got a couple of stitches afterward. Everything I've heard is that she's fine, and that's good, but it looked great. Blood in a women's match on a Monday Night Raw always stands out. I don't think it was planned, but it looked good. A previous report confirmed Liv Morgan cut open the side of her forehead from IYO Sky's knee strike. The Judgment Day star went on to complete the match despite losing blood. The outcome saw IYO pin Liv following her moonsault. Speaking of IYO, the former WWE Women's Champion will challenge Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship on the Raw after Elimination Chamber. Fans will have to wait to see which of these two superstars walk out with the title. A WWE Raw superstar has confirmed her release from the company. The star is no longer with the company going forward. Several stars have now reacted. Liv Morgan, Nia Jax, Carmella, and several other stars reacted after Sonya Deville finally broke her silence following her release. She spoke up earlier today and asked fans to stay tuned to whatever was next for her. The star's colleagues came to show. Liv Morgan WWE injury update following RW between the two, Tiffany and Rhea. I think I'd rather see Rhea, because she and Rhea had such an incredible match 2 years ago. They haven't had a match like that in women's division that I've seen on TV anywhere. Rhea won the match, but it was the best match on the show. It was incredible. Following a bloody match on WWE Monday Night Raw, a new report has revealed an injury update on Liv Morgan. On the February 10th edition of WWE Raw, Damage CTRL's IYO Sky and Dakota Kai defeated Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez of the Judgment Day. During the course of the bout, Morgan suffered an apparent injury where she came up bleeding after a knee from Sky. Later in the program, Morgan was sporting a big bruise on her face during a backstage segment after the tag team bout. Fightful Select, subscription required, provided an update, noting that word backstage was Liv Morgan appeared to be okay, but may need stitches. The report reads, Liv Morgan got busted open by a knee, but word backstage was that she appeared to be okay, but may need stitches. Morgan will face Bianca Belair, Bayley, and 3 other participants in the Women's Elimination Chamber match at the titular event on March 1st. Kairi Sane sends a message to Liv Morgan. WWE star shares brutal fallout of serious injury. WWE superstar Kairi Sane recently took to social media to send a message to former Women's World Champion Liv Morgan. The Judgment Day star suffered a brutal injury on this week's Monday Night Raw during the latest episode of the Red Brand. Liv Morgan teamed up with Raquel Rodriguez to face Damage CTRL's IYO Sky and Dakota Kai. All of the women involved in the bout put on an amazing display, but the match ultimately ended in Sky and Kai's favor. However, during the bout, Morgan suffered a brutal injury near her eye and started bleeding heavily. Following the show, the Judgment Day star had to get several stitches to close up her wound. She recently took to X/Twitter to show off her injury. This post caught Kairi Sane's attention, and she uploaded a photo of a similar eye injury that she had suffered in September last year while competing against Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. The Damage Control member also sent a message to Morgan with several emojis. Former WWE writer reacted to Liv Morgan's brutal injury on Raw. During a recent edition of Sportskeeda Wrestling's Legion of Raw, former WWE writer Vince Russo reacted to Liv Morgan's brutal eye injury, saying that he believed she was extremely tough for a person of her stature. Did you see that nasty gash on Liv Morgan's eye, man? Wow, she is tough. I gotta give you that, man. That was a nasty gash on her eye. Did you see how that happened, Chris? I wasn't watching closely enough. I mean, she had like a boxer's cut. I mean, wow. She is tough, man. Liv Morgan is tough for a girl her size, and that was nasty. Liv Morgan has qualified for this year's Women's Elimination Chamber match. It will be interesting to see what WWE has planned for the Judgment Day star's future. Liv Morgan smiles through the pain after suffering a nasty cut on WWE Raw. It was a rough night for Liv Morgan Monday on Raw, who suffered both insult and injury. In a tag team match pitting her and Raquel Rodriguez against IYO Sky and Dakota Kai of Damage Control, Morgan was pinned by Sky. But before that, she suffered a gnarly cut just over her right eye during the final minutes of the match. Rodriguez and Morgan paired up for some unique tandem offense. Rodriguez scooped Morgan up as if she was going to powerbomb her. Instead, she used Morgan as a weapon, swinging her body into the ribs of Sky, then Kai. Morgan's injury appeared to occur right after she collided with Sky. However, she started holding her face after hitting Dakota later. After Morgan blasted Kai with Oblivion, Sky plowed through her with a running knee lift. That incapacitated Morgan for several moments, who was briefly checked on by the referee. Ultimately, Sky put Morgan down for the 3 count with her signature moonsault, despite the grisly nature of her injury. Morgan was all smiles afterward. "IYO, you could never make me ugly," said the former women's world champ in a video she shared to X along with pictures of her